Whicker's War, written and read by Alan Whicker. One Man's War, a return to the battlefields of Italy, a pilgrimage to places where I expected to die. Also a salute to those I marched alongside 60 years ago while growing up watching the world explode before the viewfinders of Army Film Unit battle cameramen. In 2 years of savage warfare, they gave a lot, some of them everything. As a teenage subaltern, I'd volunteered for a new role in a new army and found myself out of the infantry, but into far more assault landings and battles than I'd expected, because our cameramen closely followed the action, indeed sometimes led it, though that was usually just poor map reading. The Italian campaign, one of the most desperate and bloody of World War II, was 666 days of fear and exhilaration. Life was strangely intense and sharp-focused, yet every dramatic experience vanished like an exploding shell as we moved cheerfully along the cutting edge of war towards the next violent day. The defence of Italy cost the Axis 556,000 casualties. The Allies lost 312,000 killed and wounded, and remember, this was the overshadowed war. After Rome, the Second Front captured our headlines, and at Westminster, Lady Astor won the Hollow Laugh Award by calling us the D-Day Dodgers. As part of a massive Allied war fleet, we joined this first great seaborne invasion of 2,700 ships and landing craft, and on July the 10th, 1943, struggled ashore onto Pachino Beach at the bottom right-hand corner of Mussolini's island, expecting the worst. Around me on that early summer dawn in Sicily, 80,000 8th Army troops were also landing and looking for a fight. Our cameramen, embedded in frontline units, faced bitter warfare. We subalterns had short, sharp life expectations, and more than half our camera crews were killed or damaged while earning their medals and mentions. Among the perils in our path lay the Anzio bridgehead, where we all ceased to be young. There, in a few weeks of savage siege warfare, 43,000 of us would be blown into history, 7,000 dead, 36,000 wounded or missing in action. But as we fought through Sicily, such horrors lay ahead, unsuspected. Those who doubted the strategic significance of our role in tying down 25 German divisions in Italy for 2 years, and the 55 divisions deployed around the Mediterranean, would have been heartened by Adolf Hitler's reaction. As we invaded Sicily, and so pinned down 1/5 of Germany's military strength, he told his generals that Citadel, the planned offensive against the Russians at Kursk, would be called off immediately. Their troops would go instead to the Italian front. That decision certainly did not make our task any lighter, but helping the Red Army was in fact our first victory, before firing a shot. When we waded ashore on Sicily, there were 2.5 German divisions in Italy. Next year, as the Second Front opened, there were 24, with 3 more on the way. We had made a difference. 60 years later, I returned to Pachino to watch the sun rise over beaches where I had waded ashore up to the waist in warm Mediterranean and taken my first soggy steps on the long slog towards the Alps. I was then approaching 2 years of the worst and a few of the very best experiences of my life, when just staying alive was a celebration. This odyssey began before the war with a Certificate A from the Officers' Training Corps at Haberdashers' Ask School, Hampstead, where, alarmed by the growing shadow of Hitler, we played at soldiering 1 night a week, went to summer camps, and struggled with our exasperating puttees. Came the war, and I enlisted, and was brushed by glory and instant power when made a local acting unpaid lance corporal. Sewing on the lone stripe was a significant moment, rather like the ecstatic sight of that first bicycle. I could still see mine, leaning against the garden fence, all chrome and gleam. Compared with such bliss, the sight of my first Bentley was as of dust. I joined up at the vast ordnance depot at Chilwell, outside Nottingham, and was selected as possible infantry officer material, which was worrying enough. The war had not been going too well for us, and a moment's reflection would have warned me that, if I wanted a
Sample complete. Ready to continue?